Wasn't created for artistic reasons, but as a desperate bid for survival. Krakow, Poland's second largest city, was once its royal capital, where kings ruled a realm ranked among Europe's richest and most powerful. The source of this royal fortune rested 8 miles to the southeast, in a city that looks deceptively ordinary on the surface. Wieliczka. The treasure actually lies directly beneath the city, a vast mine, rich with a resource that's so valuable, it was used as currency in parts of Africa into the 20th century. This is the Wieliczka salt mine. The mine is a labyrinth of tunnels stretching over 178 miles, linking more than 2,300 cavernous chambers. Descending this abyss is an adventure in itself. Just ask guide Marek Strojny.
We'll walk down more than 380 steps. You may look down into the shaft to see how far down is to the first level, more than 20 stories.
More than 700 years old, the Wieliczka salt mine's age and sheer size are enough to make this location legendary. But there's more, much more. Welcome to the Chapel of St. Kinga, the world's deepest church. 30 stories underground, crafted by miners.
Everything you may see here was carved out of salt. All these reliefs, figures, altars, chandeliers, and if you'd like to, you may even taste it.
The floor looks like polished marble, but it is salt. It's one single block of salt. These are not tiles. It is 100 feet long, 60 feet wide.
Geologists say the treasure of salt from which this cathedral was made is the residue from a primordial sea that evaporated 13.6 million years ago. But that explanation of how Wieliczka salt got here isn't nearly as fun as the legend. The tale's leading lady is the saint for whom the chapel is named, a Hungarian princess named Kinga. The statuesque leading man, her new fiancé, Poland's Prince Bolesław. Once upon a time in the 13th century, the newly betrothed couple is setting out from Hungary to Poland. But first, they stop to take a look at her engagement present from her father. It's just what every princess wants, a salt mine. But hold on a second. In the Middle Ages, salt isn't just for seasoning your boiled mutton. It's a precious food preservative used for centuries before the invention of refrigeration. And the noble Kinga needs it in order to improve the lives of the Polish people. But how is she supposed to lug a Hungarian salt mine all the way to Poland? She offers a prayer to God and then does something crazy. She hurls her engagement ring into the depths of the mine. Weeks later, when they finally reach what is now Wieliczka, Kinga seemingly doubles down on the crazy. She halts and orders her servants to start digging. They obey. And quicker than you can say sodium chloride, they pry up a lump of salt from Wieliczka's soil. And that's not all. Inside, they discover Kinga's ring. Kinga's treasure of salt has magically followed her from her Hungarian homeland to bless her new home, Poland, with a resource that will bring prosperity for centuries. As fantastic as this story may sound, it reflects how crucial salt was in the Middle Ages. But the real story of the Wieliczka mine is no fairy tale. Generations of Polish miners broke their backs, extracting a quantity of salt 3 times the volume of the Great Pyramid of Giza. For most of the mine's 700-year history, armies of workers labor by torchlight. As the mine deepens, engineers face the growing challenge of transporting workers down to the bottom and salt up to the surface.
This is an original wooden lift rotated by 8 horses. It could transport up or down between levels 2 tons of everything: salt, water, wood.
As Wieliczka's miners move a king's fortune in salt from the depths, they face danger at every turn. 1 in 10 will die, killed by floods, fires, and methane explosions. Death becomes the men's inspiration. Knowing every workday might be their last, the miners carve a network of chapels where they could plead to God to see another sunrise. Over the centuries, they do double duty as self-taught artisans, fashioning 40 chapels adorned with all manner of religious imagery. The mine becomes not only their place of work, but also their place of worship.
This is the chapel of St. Anthony of Padua, the oldest we have in the mine. The first Mass was celebrated here in 1698.
At the end of the 19th century, Wieliczka's salt miners will tackle their greatest challenge as artists. In one of the mine's largest chambers, they will carve their crowning achievement, a monumental task that begins as a labor of love of just one man. Poland's Wieliczka salt mine is the masterwork of generations of miners who transformed their workplace into a hallowed place of worship. The jewel of their creation is the ornate and enormous Chapel of St. Kinga, the brainchild of a single miner. The man with the plan is Joseph Markowski, and in 1896 he tackles the job all by himself. Over the next 25 years, he carves the chapel's key features.
And exactly in 1920, when he was working on a very high scaffolding, he fell down and he died. His younger brother, Thomas, continued to work here, and finally the third miner, Antoni Wyrodek. So it means that 3 miners, 3 amateurs, carved all these things around in more than 60 years.
The chapel is finally completed in 1963. Since then, this masterpiece of the Wieliczka mine has held services every Sunday. Although excavations halted here in the 1990s, table salt was still extracted from brine, pumped to the surface until 2007. Best of all, an artistic venture born of the mine's medieval dangers is finding a modern audience that appreciates it simply as art for art's sake.